This is the best goalkeeper in the world. Not one of the best. The best according to cold, hard numbers. He spent his entire life climbing step by step until he reached the top. And his top has an exact price, 81 million euros. Remember that number. And this guy here is a winger. He's not the best in the world in his position. He hasn't even come close yet. But he's already worth more than the best goalkeeper on the planet, and he'll keep climbing. They're both at the top, but it's not the same top. And nobody ever told either of them. Not the goalkeeper, nor the 9-year-old boy who, at this very moment, is in some backyard dreaming of wearing gloves. Because football doesn't have one ladder, it has 5. And they have brutally different heights. In the next 10 minutes, I'm going to measure each one for you in euros with official numbers. And I guarantee one of those heights will make you angry. Let's start with a number that looks like a typo. There's an institute in Switzerland, in the city of Neuchâtel, called the CIES Football Observatory. It's not a betting site. It's the FIFA-affiliated observatory that the football world has used as a benchmark for player value for over a decade. In November 2025, they published a very strange list. It's not a list of who earns the most, it's a list of who it should earn more. The model throws out the fame, the marketing, the sponsorship. Look at what happens on the pitch. How much the player plays, the level of games he plays, how often he starts in the important matches, and the position, 100 players. The 100 who, by pure merit, deserve the highest salaries on the planet. At the top, Kylian Mbappe. According to the model, he deserves 22,800,000 euros per year. Behind him, Salah, 17,900,000 euros. Bellingham, 17.5 million euros. Now do something with me. Scan through the 100 names looking for a goalkeeper. Keep going down. Keep going. 1. A single goalkeeper out of 100 names, Thibaut Courtois. And it's not just bad luck for 1 year. The report itself writes, in no uncertain terms, that attacking players earn more than those in any other position, with center forwards and wingers overrepresented at the top. 1 in 100. Remember that number too. Because now I'm going to stack this list on top of a second one, and the second one will turn this one inside out. But before you go down to the comments section shouting injustice, hold your hand. Because it's not injustice. Or at least, not for the reason you imagine. And I'm going to do the opposite of what's expected from a video with this title. I'm going to defend the market. Tooth and nail. Look at the argument. Goals are the rarest thing in football. An entire match has 2, 3 goals. Often, 0. It's the scarcest commodity on the pitch, and whoever produces the scarcest commodity charges more. This isn't prejudice against those who defend it. It's the oldest law of economics. And there's more. Someone will say, but goals are luck, deflections, balls that graze the ball in. In part, that's true. The finishing itself carries a huge component of chance. The data shows that. Boto think, the chance of scoring, if you plant yourself in the exact spot, at the exact moment, again and again, season after season, that has nothing to do with luck. It's the most repeatable skill in the game. The truly elite striker is rare and truly delivers. So the market is right. I just proved it right. And that's exactly why what's coming now is so unsettling. Because when a correct system, functioning as it should, produces a flawed result, the problem isn't a calculation error. It's structural. And structure is infinitely worse than error. Errors can be fixed with a stroke of the pen. Structure cannot. So come with me to the second list, because this is where the ground disappears. The same institute measures something else. How much each player? Okay, today, in the market, there are over 30,000 players, 1,229 clubs, 74 leagues. And you can filter by position, so let's do what almost nobody does. Look at the top of each ladder separately. January 2026 round, official numbers. The most valuable goalkeeper on the planet, Gianluigi Donnarumma, 81 million euros. That's the ceiling of the entire goalkeeper ladder. Nobody with gloves anywhere in the world is worth more. The most valuable defender on the planet, Pau Cubarsí, 110 million euros. The most valuable fullback, Nico O'Reilly, 90 million euros. The highest valued midfielder in the top 10, Pedri, Each of these men is the absolute number one in their position on earth. And now look at the ceiling of the striker's ladder. Lamine Yamal, 343 million euros. Behind him, Haaland, 255 million euros. Mbappe, 201 million euros. The three most valuable players on the planet across all positions are forwards. All three. Now do the math with me because it hurts. Yamal alone is worth more than the best goalkeeper, the best defender, and the best fullback in the world. Added together, 81 million plus 110 million plus 90 million. That's 281 million euros. Yamal, 343 million euros. That leaves 62 million euros in change. And in June 2026, weeks before the World Cup, CIES updated the study. Yamal rose to 358 million euros, more or less $416 million, opening up a lead of more than 130 million euros over the second-place player. No other player on the planet surpasses 200 million euros. So here's the phrase I want you to take from this video for the rest of your life. Being the best in the world in your position doesn't make you the best in the world. It makes you the best on a lower ladder. The number one goalkeeper on earth is worth 81 million euros and hits his head on a ceiling that an 18-year-old winger crossed at 16 without looking up. And now let's return to the scarcity argument, the one I used to defend the market. It said, you pay dearly for what is rare. Perfect. Let's take it seriously to the end and see if it holds up. How many truly world-class center forwards are playing today? 15? 20? Being generous? And how many truly world-class goalkeepers are there? 5? 6? Here I need to be honest with you, eye to eye. This count is mine. With my own criteria, it's not a number that CIES established. I'll tell you exactly where it comes from so you can disagree. But the point stands on its own. The elite goalkeeper is rarer, that's the elite striker. If the market really paid for rarity, as it claims it does, the goalkeeper should cost more. And he costs 81 million euros compared to 343 million euros. Less than a quarter. Scarcity doesn't explain anything. Scarcity isn't what's being paid for here. And if it's not scarcity, what the hell is it? Here's the answer, and it's the most important part of the video. Football produces two completely different things, and we make the fatal mistake of treating them as one. The first is events, the goal, the dribble, the assist. The event has an owner, a name on the back of the screen, a replay, a cover photo. You point to the screen and say, it was him, at that second, exactly there. The second thing is the non-events, the cross that never came, the counter-attack that died before it was born, the shot that never happened because the defender was already 3 meters ahead 20 seconds before the play was formed. There's a phrase attributed to Paolo Maldini, one of the greatest defenders to ever step onto a pitch. If he needed to make the tackle, it's because he had already made a mistake before. That's not modesty. It's the exact technical definition of the job. A defender's masterpiece isn't a spectacular action that brings the stadium to its feet. It's a non-event. It's the danger that never came to exist because he extinguished it before it ignited. And the market, every market, is a machine for pricing events. You can photograph a goal. You can replay a dribble from 30 angles, in slow motion, with an epic soundtrack. But you can't photograph an absence. There's no replay of a play that didn't happen. Look at this screen now, this empty field, with nothing happening. This could honestly be the best moment of a great defender's entire career. And it's impossible to put it all in a highlights video. Defenders aren't underpaid because of prejudice. They're underpaid because the instrument we invented to measure value is blind for what he does. The problem is with the meter, not the player. And now the part that almost no one dares to comment on. Football knows this and has already confessed in writing. In almost 70 years of the Ballon d'Or, the sport's most important individual award, only one goalkeeper has won. 1. Valuation, 1963. More than 60 editions later, no other has come close. The last defender was Fabio Cannavaro in 2006, almost 20 years ago. And there's a detail that just came out of the oven that proves this continues to happen now. Ousmane Dembélé won the last Ballon d'Or. the best player in the world, by vote. Do you know where he is on the CIES list of the 100 most valuable players? Nowhere. Outside the top 100, even behind the 100th place player, a defender valued at 62 million euros. The award looks at one thing, the value looks at another, and neither looks at who is defending. And do you know what the institution's solution to this problem was? In 2019, they created a separate award, just for goalkeepers, the Yashin Trophy. Just think about the size of that for 2 seconds. They had to build a new staircase from scratch next to it, because it became impossible to hide the fact that the main staircase would never reach that position. This isn't my opinion, it's the institution writing its own bias into the regulations. A public stamped confession that the ceiling exists. So let me wrap this up with you. The market isn't wrong. It never has been. It just never measured what you thought it measured. It doesn't pay for the goal. It pays for to be the reason, and being the reason is concrete. The reason sells millions of dollars worth of jerseys, fills the stadium, secures sponsorship deals, generates visibility, and makes Monday's headlines. Yamal's 358 million euros are not a sporting miscalculation. They are a perfect assessment. Narrative, the market with almost cruel precision, prices who history will remember. And then comes the cost, the painful part. Because when the money, the prize, the headline, and the photo all go, always to the same spot on the field, something happens down there, at the base. At this very moment, while you watch me, thousands of children are choosing a position for the rest of their lives. And a good portion choose based on the reward they see, not the talent they possess. The best natural defender of a generation might be right now begging the youth team coach to play up front, because that's where the illuminated staircase is, and no one will ever discover what was lost, because absence, again, always absence, can't be photographed. The market doesn't describe football. The market manufactures football. 5 staircases, 81 million euros, 110 million euros, 90 million euros, and 358 million euros. And a child down there, deciding which one to climb, without ever having seen the height of any of them. If you've played a position your whole life without knowing the actual height of your ladder, write in the comments what it was. I'm genuinely curious to see how you all split up.